The final debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton was full of substance and some fireworks. The candidates argued over the economy, their plans to fight ISIS, and choosing Supreme Court justices. But Donald Trump made the biggest headline. He refused to say if he will accept the outcome of the election if he does not win.
In a CBS News Battleground Tracker poll out this morning, 63% of likely voters who watched the debate said the candidates should promise to accept the election result. 49% of likely voters in battleground states believe Clinton won the debate. 39% say Trump won, and 12% call it a tie. Nora and Gail led our primetime coverage last night. They join us from the debate site at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Very early good morning to the both of you.
Yeah.
Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning, Margaret and Charlie. That's right. I mean, people were stunned when Donald Trump suggested that he might try to challenge the election if it doesn't go his way.
There was an audible gasp in the room when he said that, and that is a comment everybody is still talking about this morning. But that is not all the candidates had to talk about. Major Garrett is outside the Thomas and Mack Center with the biggest moments from last night. Major, good morning.
Good morning. There was a deep dive in the issues: abortion, immigration, the Supreme Court itself, character, taxes, entitlements, the federal debt, and the disagreements fell along ideological lines well established during this campaign. But one thing stood out, something that really debates haven't disagreed about before: whether this election would be conducted fairly and the results respected.
Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Donald Trump would not promise to accept the results of the presidential election, challenging the tradition of a peaceful transfer of power.
I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
That's horrifying. You know, every time Donald thinks things are not going in his direction, he claims whatever it is rigged against him.
After the debate, Trump's campaign manager and running mate said the GOP nominee will reserve judgment until all votes are cast.
He has the prerogative to wait and see how the election comes out.
Absent widespread fraud and irregularities, then, we'll see.
On the debate stage, Trump again denied numerous allegations of sexual assault.
Those stories are all totally false. I have to say that. I think they want either fame or her campaign did it. And I think it's her campaign.
Clinton said Trump's answer revealed his true character.
Donald thinks belittling women makes him bigger. He goes after their dignity, their self-worth, and I don't think there is a woman anywhere who doesn't know what that feels like.
Quoting from stolen private emails, Trump accused Clinton of wanting to weaken border security. Clinton said the bigger issue was Russian espionage.
Will Donald Trump admit and condemn that the Russians are doing this?
That was a great pivot off the fact that she wants open borders, okay? How did we get onto Putin?
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit that the Russians have engaged.
The puppet show was one of the few edgy clashes. Pithy one-liners at times stole the night.
He started tweeting that the Emmys were rigged against him.
Should have gotten it. I sat in my apartment today on a very beautiful hotel down the street known as
Made with Chinese steel.
John Podesta said some horrible things about you, and boy, was he right.
My Social Security payroll contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
Several Republicans we talked to afterwards gave Trump solid marks for his debate performance. They said they weren't sure that Trump did enough to win this election last night, but he may have done enough to keep it close. And they said that could help down-ballot Republicans, particularly in Senate races. Nora, one top Republican told me the difference between a 4-point loss and a 12-point loss could be 5 Senate seats and majority control.
Wow, great reporting, Major. Thank you so much.
Can you imagine the people that are frankly doing so well against us with ISIS, and they look at our country and they see what's going on? Yes, I'm very embarrassed by it. I hate it, but it's locker room talk. But I have tremendous respect for women.
Have you ever done those things?
Women have respect for me, and I will tell you, no, I have not.
I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is.
If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
You delete 33,000 emails. and then you acid wash them, or bleach them, as you would say, a very expensive process. So we're going to get a special prosecutor, and we're going to look into it.
I'd like to get to the questions that the people have brought here tonight to talk to us about.
And get off this question.
Okay, Donald, I know you're into big diversion tonight.
She won't say the name, and President Obama won't say the name, but the name is there. It's radical Islamic terror.
Violent jihadist terrorists. We are not at war with Islam. And it is a mistake, and it plays into the hands of the terrorists to act as though we are.
I understand the border. She doesn't. She wants amnesty for everybody. Come right in.
We have never in the history of our country been in a situation where an adversary, a foreign power, is working so hard to influence the outcome of the election. And believe me, they're not doing it to get me elected.
They like to say the Russians. She doesn't know if it's the Russians doing the hacking. Maybe there is no hacking.
Did you use that $916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes?
Of course I do. She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Well, why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were a senator? She's raising your taxes really high.
Well, everything you've heard just now from Donald is not true. I'm sorry I have to keep saying this, but he lives in an alternative reality. His plan will give the wealthy and corporations the biggest tax cuts they've ever had.
You know, every time we take rebels, whether it's in Iraq or anywhere else, we're arming people. And you know what happens? They end up being worse than the people. Look at what she did in Libya with Gaddafi. She's got tremendous hatred. And this country cannot take another 4 years of Barack Obama. And that's what you're getting with her.
Clinton, does Mr. Trump have the discipline to be a good leader?
No.
I'm shocked to hear that.
Well, it's not only my opinion, it's the opinion of many others.